Hello and welcome to this YouTube live with the Cricket Next. You're watching us on not just on the YouTube platform but on the Facebook social media platforms as well. And today we are discussing match 39 of the IPL, Kolkata Knight Riders versus Gujarat Titans. Kolkata fight battling inconsistency. They have not been able to string together uh, wins, at least two wins in a row. It's been loss, win, loss, win, loss, wins, and by that pattern, maybe it could be their day of a win today against the Gujarat Titans, a formidable team flying in many ways, the top three performing really, really well, even though they're big performers. Not been well graphics and has been not in a great form also. But then again, despite all this, they are at the top of the table. And to get further on this, I have Rana Vikan, KKR versus North of rather than performance itself, because KKR needs to find some consistency sooner than later.
I think KKR have put themselves into a bit of a trouble by themselves, if I can say that. I don't think uh, they they have had the season that badly. I don't think it's a case of luck not going their way, the pitchers not going their way. I think KKR are in this position because they have made a lot of silly mistakes in almost every match. You could see in the last match as well, the target was very easily chaseable, but they made a mess out of it out of nowhere. If you could see, Ajinkya Rahane Shreyas Iyer से बात कर रहे थे after the match during their handshake, and he could be heard saying कि भाई हम लोग कितनी बुरी बैटिंग करी है आज. And I think they realize that बहुत the issue with KKR is, I think they need to realize that they don't have anything else to blame. Despite the pitches not favoring them at Eden Gardens, KKR didn't make the best use of the pitches that were in a decent shape for them. There were a lot of matches where they could have won the match. There were a lot of situations where they could have capitalized, but they didn't. I think that is the main issue for KKR, nothing else. For GT, I think they are. It will be interesting to see how they play on this pitch because they are a very anchor kind of a team. So let's see how it goes if Eden Gardens presents a flatter wicket than that we are seeing usually this year.
Yeah, the role of pitch pretty much in question here, and what we are hearing uh, from the reports is the fact that it could be one determining that it could be not that high scoring game, but then again, designs that doesn't play into the rather than we have talked about it. It would be a lot of complaining about this. So this is not a complaint that we have seen earlier as well. Against the Title 2024, we made a issue with Black Cat. We did their performance to that. It is high scoring. And all of a sudden, from IPL 2025, be it the defense and creativity, Aditya Rahman and Kolkata Knight Riders, whoever it is, about the pitch itself, there's been a lot of chatter around that pitch. And I think we can't say not experience that side.
Yeah, so I think I'm very interested to see how the pitch is going to behave, and I think KKR's issues for me, I think they are mostly. I think I expect more from their batting because even in the last match, their bowling was the one that has continuously stepped up. They have changed their bowlers around, but it has continued to step up in almost every game. It's the batting that has been letting them down, and I think the issue goes back to the everything that we have discussed in the start, where there were issues with the batting lineup, how Ajinkya Rahane fits in this team, and I think that is again and again causing them those issues where they are not able to sort themselves out. For Titans, I think it's all about their top three: Butler, Shubman Gill and Sai Sudarshan, which I think they are a team that is also a very bowling favoring team, where they rely on their bowling attack to win the matches and their batting line to just get them the power scores. I think here GT. I'm just interested to see how they can play on these kind of tracks where the required total is around 250, 240, and not a power score of 180, 190 score.
Yeah, that's true. And hope, Rudransh, you are able to hear me now. Is it audible now?
Your audio is
Rudransh?
cracking, nothing else.
uh, some network issues. Do apologize for that. Yeah, one of our comments is also there about the audio issue. We'll try to sort that out. But Rudransh, you did mention about what GT needs to look, what KKR needs to look forward to, and what has been the really, the things that has really worked out for Gujarat Titans there, and we are right there at about the toss now. It is Shubman Gill and KKR's Ajinkya Rahane out there. We will get to know what the toss is. Let's discuss a bit on that toss. Whoever wins probably going to look to bowl first, bat first. Your opinion here?
I think if on these pitches, I am very favorable to whoever should wins the toss should bowl first, because Eden Gardens, despite the second old ball rule, I think it gives you some kind of due. The outfield is lush, and it's always better to have a target in your head while chasing instead of trying to set up a target here, because Eden Gardens is no longer your very predictable pitch, if you can say that. There are a variety of pitches available, and they put up different kinds of pitches for different kinds of matches. I know it's not in KKR's control, but still they are getting a variety of pitches here, not just one kind. We have seen turning tracks, we have seen flat tracks. I think that is why I'll always go with bowling first, because it's a safer option. I don't think KKR is a very good batting first team as well. I think despite what happened in the last match, they are a very chasing friendly team, because they have the batting depth to go after totals, even if they are very unreachable to the eyes. I think they can be a much better side when chasing instead of batting first. But I think that is the same goes for GT as well. So I think both of the teams would want to chase, and I think they will go for it as well.
They will definitely go for it. Chasing is probably the way to go here. But one of the problems for KKR, Rudransh, has been the fact that it is their batting. I mean, you have mentioned about how they pretty much lost games that they should have won, but it is the batting which hasn't really clicked. And especially coming up against like a Gujarat Titans outfit, who are very good in terms of their bowling, not just fast bowling, even from the spin department. Even though Rashid Khan hasn't been performing the way he is expected to, you have a Sai Kishore there. And look at the KKR side, apart from maybe a Sunil Narayan, who's primarily a slogger, spin slogger or fast bowling slogger, and a Venkatesh Iyer, nobody has really looked that comfortable against spin also. And that's probably one of the tactics most teams have employed. And that is where I think in the middle overs, where KKR are pretty much not able to, get things in order. And on that note, Sportsman also put in a good question. KKR invested 23 crore on Venkatesh Iyer. Do you think they're utilizing him best at number 5? If you're putting that much amount of money on that guy, and the guy has shown versatility in terms of batting, he has batted higher up the order. He has opened, come down to number 3, number 5. Venkatesh Iyer, I'm not really sure about it, but yeah, from a spin perspective, you probably want to see Venkatesh Iyer play more balls higher up the order.
See, about the price point, I think they selected Venkatesh Iyer because they just wanted him. I think the strategy was flawed in a way that they should have thought about it, that there was no case of Venkatesh Iyer batting at above number 4, I think, because even in the last season he was batting number 5, number 6, at max number 4 in some games. I think with Ajinkya Rahane coming in and getting the captaincy, that number 4, number 3 slot was always going to get booked. If Ajinkya Rahane wasn't in your plans, then giving 24 crores to Venkatesh Iyer, 23 crores to Venkatesh Iyer would have made sense. So it didn't make sense at that time. It was just a loyalty factor, which was a very emotional decision from
Just
KKR,
hold
which
on,
is
hold on your
sort of
thoughts.
backfiring towards him, because
Hold,
he's
hold
not the
on.
player you want at that point for IPL.
Rudransh, just hold on your thoughts. Hold on your thoughts. We'll just announce the toss update. Kolkata Knight Riders have won the toss and they have opted to bowl first as expected in terms of what Rudransh was also saying and what we were also thinking. Chasing is the way forward here for Kolkata Knight Riders, and Ajinkya Rahane saying that he doesn't expect much of a due here. So, Shubman Gill, in fact, mentioning that he is not expecting much of a due, so he's happy to bat first here as well. Rane's exact quotes were, "We will get a better idea when we bowl on this kind of pitch." And he's talked about how the players are positive and they are not too much worried about the middle order. And this is exactly what Rudransh we were talking about, that it is the middle over phase where you are actually having some trouble. How do wade through that? Because yeah, you can as a captain show up a front face saying that everybody is positive, we don't have any worries, but with not able to string together wins, there is some worry there, and this is probably the most apparent worry for Kolkata Knight Riders.
Yeah, I think you are very right about that because KKR were always a team which were very strong in the middle order. I think that is like hurting them a bit. And the question again is related to Venkatesh Iyer and Ajinkya Rahane because, like I've said it many times before, Ajinkya Rahane, Ankush Raghuvanshi, and Venkatesh Iyer are basically playing the same role at three different positions. Because they're playing at 3-4-5, it holds back your better spin players like Rinku Singh and Ramandeep Singh even behind. So that creates that issue because Ajinkya Rahane isn't your best player of spin, and nor is Ankush Raghuvanshi. And Venkatesh Iyer is that good player of spin, but he's coming at number 5. Rinku Singh is the second best player of spin, who's coming at number 6. And Ramandeep Singh is another big hitter of spin, who is coming at number 7, number 8. So obviously, when spinners can tighten those middle overs, it becomes an issue for KKR because neither Ajinkya Rahane or someone like Quinton de Kock is that proficient in hitting spinners. So maybe, yeah, they have brought in Gurbaz, which is a very interesting move. I think they are just trying to get some things changed. We have to see who he is coming in for. But I think Moeen Ali coming in suggests that it is again a very spin friendly wicket because they are going with three spinners, which I think is not a bad strategy. But it will be interesting to see how it goes against this Titans team, which, unlike KKR, is a good side against spin. Their struggles are more of spin, more of big hitting matches. I think if it's a spin friendly, low scoring, not low scoring, but a 150, 180 total match, then I think Gujarat Titans will be much happier than it being a flat 220, 230 runs wicket.
And as you were mentioning that there might be a big change coming in, and there is of course a big change. Sportsman has already put out even before we guys would be able to put that out. Moeen Ali is playing. Decock has been dropped. Gurbaz is playing today alongside Moeen Ali. Big changes there in terms of to drop somebody like a Quinton Decock who can give you the kind of impact he has made for his former IPL franchises, and even from an international point of view, that's a big call to make to accommodate somebody like a Moeen Ali. Because, as you said, this might seem like a spin-friendly wicket because you would have what, three spinners playing in that 11.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting decision to drop Quinton de Kock because on quality, Quinton de Kock is a much better batter than Gurbaz. I think Gurbaz hasn't done enough in the IPL as compared to de Kock to get this decision. Maybe they have seen something in the nets. I think that's the only explanation I have because Quinton de Kock has been one of the better performers for KKR. Obviously, he hasn't been consistent. He hasn't scored many runs except for that one knock. But I think he still deserved that place just because that opening partnership was working decently. I think Gurbaz and Sunil Narine opening together in an IPL match is too risky and too fragile in a way because none of them is capable of at least holding one end up for the 10, 15 overs because even if you see the last season where the opening partnership was very successful, Phil Sort and Sunil Narine weren't two big hitters together. Sunil Narine and Phil Sod used to try and hit in the power play, but Phil Sod would always go on to play to the 10th, 15th over. I don't think Gurbaz can do that role. I think Decock was supposed to do that role, but he wasn't able to. But we can see KKR have to make some changes. Their batting isn't working. I think this change is in the wrong direction. If I was in that management, I would have not I would have kept Sunil Narine in the middle and lower order and kept uh, Ajinkya Rahane as an opener with Decock just to solve the positional issue with the other batters. But yeah, let's see. Moeen Ali coming in the middle order, maybe trying to hit the spinners, maybe it can work out. But we actually even don't know if Moeen Ali is going to open because he opened the last time with Surina and didn't work out well. And if the case is that he's coming in the middle order, then it adds another middle order batter with so many choices to make. I think it will only make the decisions a bit more difficult for KKR, which I don't think if it's a good thing, despite the fact that they are adding another batter to the mix.
Yeah, absolutely right. It becomes even more difficult for Kolkata Knight Riders here to wade through that middle order. Just to remind our viewers, this is the playing 11. Raimundla Gurbaz, a wicket-keeper batter, to open alongside Sunil Narayan, Ajinkya Rahane, captain at number 3, Venkatesh Iyer, Rinku Singh, Moeen Ali, and Andre Russell finish off your middle order and the lower middle order alongside Ramandeep Singh and your 3 bowlers in Harshit Rana, Vaibhav Arora, Varun Chakravarti as your 3 frontline bowlers, Chakravarti being your spinner. In terms of impact subs, you are looking at Manish Pandey, Krish Raghuvanshi, Roman Powell, Lavni Sisodia, Anukul Roy, most likely with the bowling in. Maybe it will be interesting to see who Kolkata Knight Riders bring in, or they bring in somebody. Krish Raghuvanshi is probably the most safe option, or the option that they have always gone ahead with. We can have a look back at the Gujarat Titans 11 as well in a while, but as you mentioned, it will be very difficult in terms of seeing where do you put an eye. For me, Sunil Narayan should be down the order because the novelty factor of one Sunil Narayan brings to the table, everybody just now knows it, and they probably have bowlers have plan against somebody like a Sunil Narayan. If he works, he works. If he doesn't, if it doesn't, it's kind of a gamble that they are still going ahead with. And 7 games into the season, you still would want to figure these things out, but they are not able to do that. A big task for Ajinkya Rahane here. And on that note, we have a very interesting comment from one of our own colleague as well, Akash Biswas, asking, are KKR paying the price of releasing Shreyas Iyer? I think it's too late into the season to really asking this question, but yeah, of course, to let go of your IPL winning captain and the same captain doing so well for Punjab Kings, there you do, as a KKR fan, you would have in your mind thinking, might should have stuck around with him, should have tried to keep him on their side at least for this season.
It's a very interesting call. I think at least KK should have tried harder to keep him from whatever reports we got, because reports are the only thing we can rely on because of the lack of transparency from the IPL sides. Uh, Whatever we could gather at that time, it was KKR approached not just Shreyas Iyer but all of their players very late, almost the last 2-3 days before the retentions were supposed to be announced. Even Ramandeep Singh and other players who have come out and given interviews after the season has started, just before the season started, they also spoke about how KKR came in after they had already received many offers. So I think KKR were very late to react after that win, and I think they went in a bit of a hibernation mode, which is hurting them because although their retentions were spot on, Shreyas Iyer was someone who they could have got, maybe I don't know who they would have had to let out to get him, but I think it wouldn't have been a bad strategy either. I think the bigger issue they had was replacing Shreyas Iyer with Ajinkya Rahane. I'll keep saying that despite the fact that Rahane has been performing recently, it's still a very short-term solution. You can't have Ajinkya Rahane captain as your captain for the next year, even, or at least for the next 2 years. And you have to make those decisions. Every other IPL franchise has captains who will be captaining them for the next 2 or 3 years, while KKR do not have those. They will have to again maybe go to Venkatesh Iyer or Rinku Singh next year, which is another change. And you can't win trophies, or you can't create empires like Gautam Gambhir wanted to do at KKR by making these many big changes every year. You can see that happening with CSK as well. The fact that they are making so many changes every year, the fact that they are trying so many things every year. Rutraj Gaikwad came in, Rutraj Gaikwad got injured, and MS Dhoni came in. Jadeja was brought in, he was removed mid-season. It's all creating a lot of inconsistency in their team, in their messaging, which is no, quite simply not helping their game on the field. So I think KKR, when at the time that they needed consistency, they had a very good transition phase that Venkatesh Iyer had, transition plan that Venkatesh Iyer had been in a leadership position, and he could have been made the captain, could have uh, justified the price tag that he had, as well as given him that opportunity at number four with Ankush Raghuvanshi at number three, to have maintained the right hand left hand combination. Everything would have worked out very well for them, I think. By adding, but just because they wanted someone experienced, a face, a recognized face as a captain, I think they have taken a huge risk, which is showing in their inconsistency, because they don't seem to have a very exact plan, or a very simple set method that works for them.
That's absolutely right. And somewhere down the line, I do feel that they bungled up at the auctions as well. Rahane, remember, was not their first choice in terms of captaincy. He, in fact, went unsold in the first round of auctions, and when the accelerated auctions came in, that is where got picked up. And eventually, naming him as the captain was quite surprising. But again, they did not have much of a choice, and as you mentioned, they were pretty much late in reaching out to the other players as well, even before the auction. So, kind of in a way hampering them. And yeah, with captaincy options, you probably would have to look. I mean, to have Ajinkya Rahane as a captain again would be very difficult unless Rahane turns this around here, and from here onwards, the next 7 games, KKR manage to string up wins and maybe make the playoffs. Maybe Rahane's resume may look slightly better, chances maybe slightly better in that regards. Or yeah, you may have to go with a Venkatesh Iyer or very knowledgeable colleague Harshit Best always talks about Rinku Singh being the captain, which I don't see happening at all. But yeah, could be that route being taken. But let's see how it goes about. And on that note, Akash Biswa was also saying Narine looks incomplete without Gambhir, isn't it? Had never looked in never looked comfortable, in this setup. So in Narine, and that's what it is. I mean, he's somebody who's been waning in form in terms of his bowling as well. Yes, even he gives you economical overs, but he isn't has the wicket taking prowess as he used to maybe 4 5 years back. And it was his batting which was the bonus, and which is also now not really working out. But enough of KKR. Let's look at the Gujarat Titans for playing 11 as well. Very solid and very uh, consistent and reliable 11 there. Top three: Sai Sudarshan, Shubman Gill, Josh Butler. Both two of them are in the top 10 orange cap running. So it's a good thing for them. Shafin Rutherford has been one of the best impact players across formats for me, in ways how GT have used him, have utilized him, and it's great to see that Rahul Tewatia comes in, gives you those handy runs down the order as well. Sundar has been in and out, but again, would be interesting to see when given the opportunity how he does. Shah Rukh Khan, Rashid Khan, and there is of course Sai Kishore, Prasidh Krishna, and Mohammad Siraj. One of the main things for GT Rudransh we have talked about is the fact that yes, the top three has been performing. Their impact player subs have been right on point, but despite a Rashid Khan not performing, the guys like Prasidh Krishna, Mohammad Siraj really stepping up, and even Sai Kishore for that matter picked about 4 wickets in one of those games. A complete batting, a complete team performance in many ways. I mean, was a team that you look at in comparison to the other teams. This is more of a bowling heavy team, and you thought, I mean, the combination of a Sai Sudarshan, Shubman Gill at the top of the order, would they be able to provide the impetus as you talk about in T20 cricket? But they've just ransacked everybody here and surprised with the kind of pace that they have scored, and of course the bowlers coming in, and really good set of bowlers there.
I think GT, exactly as you said, it's a very bowling oriented team, which is almost completely opposite to KKR, because KKR have more of batting all rounders. These guys have a lot of bowling all rounders. You can see Rashid Khan, you can see Washington Sundar, you can see Sai Kishore can bat as well. I think I really like this team today because Washington Sundar is there. I think he has always deserved to be in that lineup And the fact that there could be a very decently spin helpful pitch today on offer, I think they have included Sundar to, and I think he adds a lot of might to this GT lineup because he can contribute with the ball. He has contributed well with the ball. He has hit a 40 with the bat, and he is a pretty good batter in that middle order. And GT's weakness has been that they haven't been able to capitalize on the scores from their top three, and in matches where some wickets fall early on, or if they need a huge total to win, then it becomes an issue for them because their middle order hasn't just got the game time, or it doesn't really have that quality that you want from middle order. This middle order used to have Rahul Tewatia, Hardik Pandya, and David Miller, which now has Sherfin Rutherford, which albeit is a great batter and is in great form, but is not your Hardik Pandya or David Miller. And Rahul Tewatia hasn't been performing at all, I think, because to justify his place in this 11, I think they can always look to consider. I think GT are going more on his reputation than his form. And I think if it was any other team and if they were losing games, I think he would have been dropped by now. I think I would want to see more of him. Maybe not with the bat, then with the ball, because it's like you have one player and you are just giving him 10, 12 deliveries. It doesn't justify his place in the team for me. And but otherwise, yes, I think their pace attack has really stepped up. Prasidh Krishna, Ishan Sharma, who we'll probably see in the second innings, they have been exceptional in this season so far. Replacing Mohammad Shami in that lineup wasn't easy, but they have done it to good measure. Prasidh Krishna is in the purple cap race. I think he has a purple cap as well right now, which is great. I think GT as a team, they are in this position at the top of the table because their bowlers have gotten them wickets and important wickets at crucial stages in almost every match. Their death bowling has been very good. Their middle overs has been very strong. Despite Rashid Khan not being at his best, Sai Kishore has stepped up big time, and I think he's also showing that if Rashid Khan has to go to some other team next season or somewhere, if it doesn't work out with GT, then he can step up and take the role of that lead spinner as well.
Interesting comment from Sportsman asking things Sai Kishore bowled on the 20th over last match that was against DC if I'm not wrong. Shouldn't he bowl his full quota of overs? I think that over an out of form Rashid Khan. One, I mean, even if it's an out of form Rashid Khan, you would tend to back Rashid Khan over any other bowler. So that was probably the logic there. And also other thing was because Akshar Patel was batting there. I think he got out on the 18th over. Akshar Patel came in quite early, so that was probably one of the reasons why that Sai Kishore was not employed by Shubman Gill, just to not give that arc for Akshar Patel to really go for his shots. And by the time he got out on the 18th over, it was down to your death bowlers, and that's probably where you saw Sai Kishore come in with that 20th over because you had really ran out of options in that case. But then again, it was went well for GT because they were able to chase down that mammoth score of over 200 with a relative ease on that matter. Akash is back on the questioning line of why not Rinku if Patidar could become RCB's captain. Patidar versus Rinku saying, I'm not really sure, even though SRK likes him. I don't really see Rinku Singh as a captain there, but that's something that we may want to pick up with Akash and with Harshit maybe during the post mortem of what KKR had done or they could have done and what they could be doing. We are 8 minutes away from the toss, from the start of game, and let's dive a bit into the playing into a bit of fantasy 11 as well. Who could be your best picks? It's kind of tough to choose from the playing 11 or tough to choose from GT because you may want to fit in everybody there with the kind of form they are in, but it'd be interesting to see in terms of matchups. You have Sunil Narayan, Moeen Ali, and of course Varun Chakravarti. There was this one stat where Sunil Narayan has had the number on somebody like a Shubman Gill, dismissed him 12 times or something, so that's very interesting to look at. So we'll dive into that, and if you had to make your fantasy line and if you have already made your 11, what could be those players that you're looking at, Rudransh?
I think Sunil Narayan should always be in your fantasy 11s. in every KKR match because he's one of the best fantasy players because he gives you 4 overs and he opens the batting. So even if he, because I think there is a stat that he has picked in at least 1 wicket in almost every match since the last season. So even though he hasn't been the prolific wicket taker that we grew up seeing him, someone who could take 2, 3, 4 wickets in every match, he's at least taking 1 wicket in every match. Plus the if he, even if he bats like 10, 15 deliveries, he scores 20, 25. That is at least enough points sorted for one of your players. I think he is always a very decent vice captaincy choice as well. The players I would go with today could be Sunil Narayan, maybe then mostly bowlers. I think Varun Chakravarti deserves a shout. Harshit Rana as well because he likes this pitch, and maybe you can go with someone like Venkatesh Iyer, maybe a gamble because he might come in to play early because GT have good bowlers. I don't trust that Gurbaz Narayan opening combination. So I think Venkatesh Iyer could be in early in the second innings. In the first innings, I will definitely pick at least two GT bowlers. I'll go with R. Sai Kishore because this pitch should suit him. Washington Sundar definitely because of his all-round prowess. Maybe Sharfin Rutherford and definitely Josh Butler and Sai Sudarshan. I think you can also go with Shubman Gill, but it depends on your mood, whatever you're thinking. I would go with Josh Butler and Sai Sudarshan because Josh Butler has I think he hit a century here last season. He has an excellent record at Eden Gardens, and Sai Sudarshan should love this pitch as well. I don't think there are a lot of bowlers in the KKR lineup who can target Sai Sudarshan's weaknesses. I think Vaibhav Arora, Harshad Rana, Sunil Narayan, as you said, can target Shubman Gill very well. But I think Sai Sudarshan could be a dark horse for fantasy teams in this match.
सुदर्शन द डार्क हॉर्स फॉर रुद्रांश एंड हर्षित सिंह राइटली से नारायण बस फैंटेसी में ही रन बनाता है, फील्ड पर तो दिख नहीं रहा है परफॉर्मेंस. अगर फील्ड पे नहीं परफॉर्मेंस दिख रहा तो फैंटेसी में कहां से रन बनाएगा. आई थिंक फॉर मी इट्स मोर ऑफ इवन इफ ही डजंट बैट, इवन इफ ही डजंट स्कोर रन्स, इवन विद द बॉल, इवन इफ ही डजंट टेक विकेट, ही इज सो इकोनॉमिकल, ही इज नॉट गोइंग टू गिव यू negative points, so to speak. So he'll keep give you something even if there is not much of a performance there, because his attribute with the bat and the ball, there is something to look forward to. That is when Narayan becomes a very hot pick in terms of fantasy, even though the performance are not there. A few comments in. We're sticking to our colleagues only, and there is again we go back to that captaincy debate. आकाश saying मौके की बात है तो मनीष पांडे भी है. I think you're the only guy who's remembering Manish Pandey, Akash. I mean, even the IPL guys are not remembering him. Of all the 4 players who played in the IPL right from the first season who are still there, only 3 of them have been felicitated, being Kohli, Dhoni and Rohit. Manish Pandey का नाम कहीं आया नहीं है. So it's a good thing that only Akash remembers Manish Pandey, nobody else. I'm saying after this season also you won't even see him being picked anywhere else. Unfortunate, because great player as uh, Akash mentioned starting the first Indian player to score 100. That was what, 10 years, 15 years ago. Yeah, the time is done and dusted. So not even Manish Pandey to my in my book for that matter. And we have another comment. Harshit has put out his 11 wicketkeeper as Josh Butler, and his 11's batters are Gill, Sudarshan, Rahane, Sharfin Rutherford, an amazing pick there in terms of impact that he brings in, and Sunil Narayan, Moin Ali, Andre Russell. Bowlers being Prasidh Krishna, Siraj Chakravarti, more or less similar to what Rudransh your pick were. The captaincy and vice captaincy pick would be quite interesting. Harshit's picks are Sai Sudarshan. Yeah, safe bet in a way. Most would have him because of the kind of form that is in vice captain being Prasidh Krishna. So yeah, it's an all-out GT war for Harshit. Your captaincy and vice captaincy pick in this game, Rudransh?
I think I'll go with Josh Butler as my captain because I think he has another 70, 80 in him. And I'll go with a GT bowler, probably Sai Kishore, because I think GT have a much, much better chance of getting success here because KKR's form, I don't think they have the capability to turn around GT's momentum today. I think I'll go with all GT, and I'll even pick more GT players in my fantasy 11 than KKR ones. I completely agree with Harsh's choices of Rahane plus 3 all-rounders because I think that is where KKR's strength lies. But otherwise, GT are much, much more stronger in the specialist departments.
Sorry, I was on mute. I think, yeah, GT has got a good winning combination. But what's your take on GT playing three overseas players all season? Has any team done this before? I think a few of the teams have done that. CSK, for that matter, were playing with three overseas players, and even in the past season, you have seen SRH also doing the same. But as you mentioned, it's a if the winning combination is there, what is the need to bring in that fourth overseas player just to fill in the quota? If you're able to get the maximum value out from your Indian players as well, and if you have those quality overseas options, just three of it, if you want to utilize, why not? I mean, there's no harm in just going ahead with three, right? If you're winning, and it's pretty much given that you want to stick to that winning combination, it's pretty much working out for Gujarat Titans, isn't it, Harshit? Rudransh.
Yeah, I think it is working because till the time it's working, there is no, you can't say that they are doing it wrong, because there are a lot of things. A lot of people said that GT had the worst auction, that they have the worst team before the season, but we can see the results. They are the top of the table, and the Ashish Nehra magic, as a lot of people like to say. I think their capabilities are much more than what we see on the paper, because they are a team that can just get the best out of the players they have always. And I think uh, most of their performances is because their Indian setup has stepped up. Prasidh Krishna has stepped up, Asai Kishore has stepped up, and if that is happening, you don't need that extra overseas batter. I think or overseas player. I think that could have been a good case maybe if you had Glenn Phillips, because then Glenn Phillips coming in for Rahul Tewatia would have been the easiest swap. But just because Glenn Phillips is not there, and the only other good option that you have is maybe Gerald Coetze. I think Gerald Coetze is the kind of player that who could change games, but I don't see a place for him in this 11. But we will probably see them going back to four overseas players again, because Kagiso Rawada in the last month, Shubman Gill said that he could be back in 10 days or so, and that could be another week. So maybe next week we will see them go back to the four overseas player combination. And yeah, till the time it's working, then there is no question about going with four players, or should they go with, or should they not go with four overseas players.
Yes, and also the fact is that because GT's makeup is such that you have what one overseas bowler so far in that lineup, and that Rashid Khan, and because he gives you that advantage with the bat as well, to bring in a Shafin Rutherford, you probably need to have that extra space there, because an overseas player can be impacted out for an overseas player. So if you want to bring in a Shafin Rutherford in this case, and maybe Glenn Phillips, if you were thinking before the time he was not injured, you needed to have that free space. And because Kagiso Rabada is not there, that is probably the reasoning why you're going ahead with three. You're comfortable with three overseas. You're going ahead with when Kagiso Rabada comes in, then it will become interesting, because you want to have a Rabada, you will have a Rashid. You can't drop Josh Butler. So then it becomes quite interesting. Then what do you do? But yeah, everything's working well for them, and we have had a start now. Gujarat Titans have come out to bat, and KKR are bowling, and that would be our cue to end this live session as well. We will be back with the post match of this game. Hopefully, looking to see if KK are able to put out a better performance at their home, and just throw away the off the field chatter about the field, about the pitch conditions and everything. And GT, would they be able to continue their winning ways and maintain their lead at the top of the table? So yeah, that's about it from us. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for our colleagues to put in who put in their questions and put in their suggestions as well. Thank you, Rudransh, for your insight. And yeah, this is me, Vineet, signing off. Thank you.